You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodrance for Black and White Sports 2. Well, we're going to talk about a couple of different teams because we got news on the next head coach of the Indianapolis Colts and what looked to be a mortal lock, as in Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. There's another team formerly involving the Colts. Frank Reich, that's right, the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. He's got some interest in Derek Carr. And do I think that makes some sense? Yeah, I do. Now, the only thing I would say to that would be whether or not Frank Reich would obviously be a little nervous having been involved with veteran quarterbacks as of late. That may scare him off a little bit ultimately, right? We were doing our member live stream. I cut a piece of that out yesterday. And Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints did meet in New Orleans, and he was there Wednesday. He came back to the facility in New Orleans on Thursday and spent some more time there. So there's definite fire there. Let's get to Eagles' Shane Steichen. He's the offensive coordinator for Philadelphia right now, but not for much longer. He's going to be a head coach. And it should be noted, Jeff Saturday's going to be gone. I would assume he will go right back to ESPN. I don't think he would agree to take a job on this staff, although Jeff Saturday, he makes a lot of sense as an offensive line coach somewhere, and then, go coach offensive line a couple of years, maybe, take on the tight ends too or something like that, and work yourself back into being a head coach, because I do feel like, I think there's something there with Jeff Saturday, some potential, all right? Indianapolis Colts were one of the most disappointing teams in the NFL this past season, but they now appear ready to move forward with a new head coach. Indianapolis has, quote, targeted Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator Shane Steichen and have informed other candidates that the team is, quote, moving in a different direction, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN. Expectations were fairly high for the Colts. Coming into the 2022 campaign, they were coming off 2 straight winning seasons, had a potential MVP candidate in the backfield in Jonathan Taylor. He got hurt. A seemingly strong defense, and appeared to stabilize the quarterback position by trading for Matt Ryan. I still don't understand what happened with Matt Ryan. There was even some speculation that Ryan's trade would be a key to a potential Super Bowl run after the team's inconsistency with Carson Wentz under center the previous year. I think a lot of people thought they were going to really run away with that division. I mean, that division is not strong. It's a weak division, and it just turned into a dumpster fire. It truly did. And I don't think that's on Frank Reich. I'd say some of that is on Chris Ballard. Some of it's on Jim Irsay. I think Irsay kind of stuck his nose in the situation and messed up that team. And word has it that Jeff Saturday had been involved for a long time. So I don't know if there was some undermining going on there. As far as Frank Reich goes, I don't know. All right. Instead, the Colts stumbled to a 4-12-1 record as Taylor dealt with injuries. Ryan underperformed and the defense struggled to stop opposing offenses. Frank Reich was fired after 9 games. And, of course, Jeff Saturday went 1-7 with a 7-game losing streak to end the season. It left the Colts looking up at the Jacksonville Jaguars and Tennessee Titans in the AFC South and well outside the playoff picture. However, it also left the team with the number 4 overall pick in the NFL draft and the 13th most cap space in the league, entering a critical offseason in which they could be looking for a new coach and a potential franchise quarterback. The situation that Steichen inherits, with decisions to be made regarding what to do with that draft pick and the roster, could use improvements across the offensive line and elsewhere. And look, it was thought that defense was going to be a plus coming in the last season. and that certainly they had one of the better offensive line over the last several years. They expected that to be a strength. And it was a dumpster fire. I mean, truly a dumpster fire. The Colts do draft or add another quarterback this offseason. The partnership between the new signal caller and incoming coach could define the franchise for years to come. Well, Steichen has no head coaching experience. He was an assistant for the Chargers, Browns, and Eagles in previous stops. 37-year-old was an offensive coordinator for the Eagles. This past season helped them finish third in the league in yards and scoring, then reached the Super Bowl. And, of course, we don't know how the Super Bowl is going to turn out. We're still about 4 hours away from kickoff right now. Panthers may emerge as a landing spot for Raiders QB Derek Carr. This is USA Today. On Sunday afternoon during an episode of Postseason NFL Countdown, Mortensen, Chris that is, one of the best, a legend, and the crew touched on the ongoing saga of soon-to-be former Las Vegas Raiders quarterback Derek Carr. And although the 31-year-old passer has been playing footsies with the division rival New Orleans Saints this past week, it's the Panthers with head coach Frank Reich and new quarterbacks coach Josh McCown who could start striking up some chemistry. I tell you what, I like what they're building on the offensive side there in Carolina. I really do. They got some pieces there on offense. You know, DJ Moore's out there. On ESPN, Chris Mortensen said that Frank Reich and Josh McCown in Carolina, quarterback Derek Carr could emerge with the Panthers. There could be some synergy there. Carr passed for 3,522 yards, 24 TDs over 15 starts in 2022, and is coming off a fourth Pro Bowl, whatever that means. Tyler Huntley made it. But that hasn't been enough for Josh McDaniels' Raiders, who will continue to work with Carr on an exit strategy. They really want him out of there because of that $40 million large that he's got a guarantee for. That's seemingly modest. It says ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported yesterday that Las Vegas is seeking a third-round selection for Carr. Wow. God, I'd do that yesterday, probably, if I could do something with that contract, maybe. But that seemingly modest asking price will be a lot pricier if his $40.4 million guarantee is made official on Wednesday. So, anyway, a touch of dyslexia is showing up, as always. All right, so there's where you're at with Derek Carr. Is the Saints actually going to let him get out of the building and going to let him dip his toes in other areas? Maybe he's just said, I'm going to make some trips around the league to some teams. Obviously, one other team that I'm thinking about is still in that division, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There is part of me that thinks all of a sudden Jimmy Garoppolo may come into play there down in Tampa Bay. That makes a little bit of sense down there too, even though I still think Jimmy G ends up with the Texans with DeMeco Ryans, who just came from the 49ers, right? It's going to be interesting. And is Derek Carr going to is this going to rejuvenate his career kind of? I mean, one could argue he didn't have the most disastrous of seasons, but Derek Carr's a little bit like Dak Prescott, where you get some of these numbers at like the worst times of some of these games where it's like, okay, we're down by 30 and now we got to throw the ball. And all of a sudden we've got a padding stats situation. But most of the time he looks pretty good. He does seem to be prone to a back-breaking turnover every now and then, which you have with all these middle-of-the-road quarterbacks. I mean, they're all the same. Okay, you got Dak, you got Jimmy, you got Derek Carr, you got Kirk Cousins, you got Mac Jones. They're all going to be in that 12 to 20 range in the NFL. Do I think you can win a Super Bowl with them? Sure, if everything is perfect around them. Guys, we've only got like 4 elite quarterbacks in football. Okay, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, actually, I think is on the outside looking in of that, but right outside. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. So now what? Actually, 3. All right, Tom Brady's gone, and I think Aaron Rodgers is on the outside looking in at that now too. He's not down there with those other guys, but he's somewhere in between now. So maybe if he can land somewhere with some more weapons, all of a sudden he's back to being an MVP. We don't know. Age is a big deal, and I don't think he's going to age nearly as good as Brady did. I just don't. I think we might already be seeing that. Tell me what you think, Black and White Sports 2 supporters. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.